Valiant, and this is forced Furia to play this out as a duo. Now rotate through Harvester, see if they could get them back into the game.
Yep, Waltzy catches them out. You can see that from the ping. They are aware the EMEA powerhouse is just ahead of them now. Instead of streaming forward towards them, they actually take their time. Look at the death boxes on the way through. There is a little bit of space they can play here on the other side of Harvester, but of course then that forces you into those two snake-like chokes that can be hard to force your way through.
Oh no, right through the evac. He tries to take some shots with the Sheila, but a bit too far away. Doesn't even shoot at the evac tower. He saw that it was a little too late when they were trying to go up, it looks like, but Alliance dropped down. It was Effect now that moves up. They don't even try to commit here, and Falcons are right behind them, just trying to commit to going to Harvester because there is a ring console for them to access.
Yeah, you're right. You usually want to hit that when it's just gone up. That does enable you to maybe cut off one or two of the members who are trying to take the evac, even if they hit it straight away. Okay, TSM right into this with Noctum down in Lava Siphon. They're fighting for an important position in the northern building here.
Talk about the damage from reps, by the way. Over 1k damage already, 3 KP going in their pockets. Noctum just down to what looks to be a solo. Well, they have secured this entire northern side of Lava Siphon. The teams that are neighboring them, VP, over to the smaller building to their north, Team Burger. Fnatic still on the south side of Lava Siphon, where we note that there is that ring console, but you'll be forced to burn the dome for a ring console scan there specifically.
Yeah, Remix Powers making it all the way back into the zone. Looks like he might dodge Furia. I think he's going to try and res in launch site. Luckily, Furia coming from Tree. Different Southern POI. Furia coming in from the zone. Of course, we saw them get hurt later, so I think they've just come off their reset. And they're now pulling up behind the command center where Fnatic is set up.
I got in that res originally here, while Falcons are looking down at Alliance. Taking the time for this, while Alliance backing away, forcing them to go into their line of sight without giving up that platform here out of the bunker.
Yeah, and as you can see on the little cutout there, Guild smack bang in the center of the zone. I believe they have that building. It's almost hard to see because they've got so many rampart walls set up and around it, but that means that this spot that Alliance have, oh, they've actually been pushed underneath now. That's great for Falcons. If they can hold on to this tunnel, that is absolutely a doorway into one of these final zones.
Noctum managed to get the res too on 2 of their members, so they're back as a full 3-man. And as you noted, Genome, Alliance playing off that low ground could also work into their benefit because they don't want to get pinched from Team Falcons from behind, but they also keep themselves out of the line of sight of the other squads that still have that slight height.
Oh. Furia. Very dicey rotate in here.
I think that's TSM, by the way, pinging at them from that northern building of Lava Siphon still. Furia forced to move up into that middle building of Lava Siphon. The only squad there for now, while Noctum coming out of that fresh res in the middle of their rotate, playing on the edge of the zone.
Okay, Aurora trying to get set up in the caravans. Triple reds at least, that's something to their name, but we know that these caravans they're basically death traps. Can be a little bit better with all the walls we've got right now. Still think having the Watson is probably the best way to survive in them, to zap all the nades, because that's omnidirectional, whereas you can't really stop the nades coming in from both windows at once with the castle wall.
Guild moving away from landing over by Landslide, finding that spot very early in the game. Denying themselves the opportunity to get that mid-game loot. It's usually scary when you have a lot of these teams trying to force their way into these buildings with the bubbles.
This is the exact rotation we saw VKG take last time that we had this zone. They got some placement points out of it, didn't convert massively, but they certainly showed the power of Valkyrie in these situations. This time, Shopify are on the other side, and they take too much damage. They're not in there early enough.
And we saw the engagement from Falcons. They dropped down from high ground right on top of Alliance. We saw that first knock from Hal. They get Hockey's next. And Alliance now just down to a solo, but Team Falcons now have managed to take over the Alliance positioning while Complexity are staring down the barrel at LG, but they're getting pressured over to the side. They have to be careful because there's a team in the distance also taking shots at them. It has knocked them also looking to get involved in this fight.
Oh no, Complexity. They didn't need a huge game here. They just needed a good one.
And it's not just LG getting involved here with Noctum, it's also Furia for the fourth party. Complexity get annihilated, 15 squads left, and Noctum drop down from the high ground. They try to chase down Sweet, and right behind Noctum will be Furia.
Okay, so at this point, we do not expect anyone to hit match point at the end of game 4. With LG going out, Furia picking up some points here. This lobby is evening out, Vicky.
Doesn't even want to take the risk and not committing to popping that shield bat with all the shotguns that we've seen. Furia successfully go in for the fourth party. They clean up what is left of Noctum.
Oh, wow.
And they call in the evac tower too. Isolated, by the way, no other team were really looking at them, but I did see on the map that TSM were looking at Furia and they shot down their evac tower with a Sheila.
You know, we're watching some of the teams in the north side, North Siphon Village here. They're going to be pretty happy. I mean, Shopify Rebellion, they're set up underneath the bridge, and it is, like we expected last time, going somewhat towards that dome. VK Gaming, by the way, they've managed to respawn one of their members. Oh, and they did actually manage to get the other one reset too. So, congrats for VKG. That is happening under everyone else's noses.
X are trying to fully engage on this. You saw the boat check shots hitting, getting those cracks, but K-Swinny was incredibly low, having to reset. Still looking at the teams right across the bridge just to make sure that nobody tries to take that zip line to try to get right back up here. EXO want to hold this high ground, looking at Envy and also denying themselves the opportunity to move in from the bridge side, making them drop down instead.
Furia getting ready for a slam. Vaxlon seems to be waiting for something. There we go. He pops it in while his teammates come in at the same time to do the damage. That was so well coordinated. Love that from Furia.
The trust and also Vax having to back away, knowing that the boat check shots from EXO were still hitting them. Now Team Burger move up to 3P. They drop down. Furia get eliminated. Team Burger.
Oh my.
Good timing on the bombardment. That's actually what started their engagement for that fight.
Pricey couldn't see anything. Almost went down from hitting a castle wall there. I mean, that said, they've stayed alive, and Burger in 20th at the moment want to be scrapping out every single point they can from this game.
Oh, they called out Unlucky. You saw him as a solo alliance get eliminated. Solo no more. It's gonna be a bloodbath for the teams that have to come out of the east side. TSM with Zap moving up, utilizing the dome. They're looking at Fnatic. They're inside the truck right now.
Okay, playing for the south zone. As soon as these bubbles go down, Falcons will become a factor as well, fighting from afar.
Oh, this really shows you how hard it is to get inside these trucks. TSM had gotten the initial knock. Fnatic were able to get the res and now win the fight. The Sheila from Melstera melting TSM.
Yeah, but Yuka F is gone. They'll get his banner. Falcons are close by, but you can see z-o-o doesn't want to commit to this too hard. Falcons' spot is God's spot right now. Okay, respawn beacon comes out, but they don't have the bubble to sit on it.
Falcons are lighting up the feed. They're not only looking at Fnatic, over to the north side too. VKG get eliminated. Melstera still alive, being able to find this crevice.
Had to play his life there. Leica's actually crawling into the zone. Purple knockdown shield. Melstera cannot even find a chance.
This would be the biggest clutch. This would be the biggest clutch. He's got the mobile.
Got another
He's
one.
got the mobile. Can he find a spot? He can't find a corner. He can't expose himself. And Gil just fully send it up to Melstera. Can he run? He's running for his life. He's sliding around. He's trying to get Falcons to perhaps engage, but there's not much you can do. Fnatic get eliminated and Guild have claimed these crates.
Love the movement from Melstera there. The most recent pickup from Fnatic. Certainly someone who is helping them stake their claim here in Sapporo.
Making it rain with these arc surfs from above. Shopify neighboring the rock alongside Envy. Right next to them. EXO looking right down below, still from height. Aurora, neighboring EXO too, from the tower.
Okay, now we saw in that pip in the corner there, so many teams shoved into one side of the map. Falcons have dominated this end circle. This feels like the Falcons of old. This is like the exact position they want to play from.
Still from the north side here, Till also holding that fence line. Shopify are waiting for these domes to drop to let the Sheila sing. See EXO still behind them. They're on the low ground this whole time now as the dome goes down. They get the knock onto Koipo and Zaidu. MT trying to play his life, trying to for Envy and EXO to take out each other first to play for their positioning. 6 squads left. Shopify get eliminated. EXO beat them back in the lobby. Aurora now trying to get the KP while Falcons are still alive, are still on high and looking at Guild.
Yeah, Guild are about to lose their position to the zone. So are Aurora. Falcons need to try and find a way to put pressure and push them into each other. Otherwise, they will be the ones in trouble. Guild getting focused by 2 teams at once.
It's the sandwich here. Aurora helping out Falcons in this case while Guild trying to push onto Aurora. This is the green light for Falcons to move into 3P. Guild get eliminated. Last 3 squads.
But Envy are down low. Somehow no one's looking at them right now. Aurora so focused on Falcons, but Envy need to find their way up
the grand slam of the Newcastle wall pushes 9 and falls back here. Keza gets taken out first. Walty slides in. The PK shot singing. Falcons now have held height, have the advantage. While Envy are still on low ground. Aurora get eliminated. Envy forced to play right underneath the platform.
Envy want a second, but at some point they've got to come up.
Here they come up with the zipline, with the Newcastle wall. The hit fire shot from Hao, but he gets traded off. And Falcons take game number 4 in such a dominating fashion.
Oh, they knew that game was theirs. What up, Jayhawk? Loving that one from the crowd. We saw they pushed through the tunnel behind Command in Lava Siphon, and from that point on, it was Falcons' game to lose. Alliance, I believe they were in the tunnel at one point, and then they dropped down underneath. Alliance went out in 11th. They could have potentially held their ground there. Could have been a whole different story. The other thing I think to note was we had that mid-game fight, that early game fight even, where Falcons didn't go down too early, didn't engage too hard, as they have done so many times so far this tournament, and that finally allows them to get a good end game spot.
They prioritize getting the ring console over by Harvester to allow themselves to have that free rotate, understanding where that zone was going to pull. Huge dub for Falcons, 16 KP.
And I mean, of all the end game god spots you can have, when you have a high ground disparity like that, like you have coming out of that tunnel and looking down at the ditch, you just sit up there with amped walls. Everyone's doing, you know, amped scout shots, amped Sheila bullets are coming out, and it results in 16 kills.
Good call from Falcons to drop on top of Alliance in the early mid-game too, because no one's going to look at them when they're stationed inside those houses.
Imperial Hell with 3,200 damage in the finals lobby at the championship.
He heard everyone. Falcons with a huge dub. Walty with 7 KP. I mean, under the Warlord title, that is definitely one way to pop off.
Are you feeling it? Are you feeling that HAL finals magic? Like when they got the back-to-back-to-back. You know, it's got that taste about it, Vicky. I can feel it on my tongue.
Can't talk about a finals without mentioning HAL. A lot of attention on the quote-unquote super team for a reason. coming out of the elimination bracket, now finding themselves in the top 3 of our match point finals. 37 total points after that last game.
I mean, they only had 9 going into it. Of course, this will happen in our first 5, maybe even 6 games where teams who have been struggling can get one massive game and you know, get the majority of it from that. But now that we are pushing up closer, complexity got 0 in that game, by the way. And that feels like this has potentially extended this series.
Remember when we watched Falcons yesterday, when they had to tear up through elimination round 2, when they found that stride, when they found that game, that dub, it was a completely different Falcons. It was the momentum that we know that this team likes to roll with. And with a huge game like that, can they carry it over to Storm Point when we make our map transitions?
I mean, here's an interesting question. Would you rather just sneak through in 10th place in the winners bracket? Or would you rather have a resounding success in the elimination bracket round 2 and therefore have a bit of momentum on your side when you finally do push into the finals on Sunday?
Keep your hands warm. Keep going every single group that you could push through. This is amazing looks for Falcons. Can they keep it up? We're moving on to Storm Point for game number 5. Don't go anywhere. It's coming to you on the other side of this break.
Battle Beaver, the official controller of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Herman Miller, the official chair of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Fuck! Dead! That's like 60! Dead! Shotgun, I need shotgun, please. I have 3 bullets. Let's go. Last team. He's walling. I don't have to. My A low gun as well. I can in. I'm fucking them. Give me on. 90. Dead. Okay. Let's fucking go! Good fucking shit! Good shit!
Welcome back, everybody, to Sapporo. As you can see, the snow is continuing to fall, but the games are heating up. Falcons, it felt inevitable that at some point during this tournament, we would be talking about them winning games of Apex that really matter, and that last one, it certainly did.
And again, you saw it from their reaction, just what it means to put themselves back in contention to win this tournament. If you start to fall away from the leading pack, you start to worry, you start to panic, you start to maybe take more risks that may lead to you exiting those lobbies early, but instead now they join the lobby leaders, they're closing in on match point threshold, and that makes match 5 very interesting indeed.
It certainly does, and like I say, it just felt inevitable that at some point during this tournament, Falcons would have a say. And I just want to touch upon something you said there. You know, it's good to stay in touch with the chasing pack, but for a team like Falcons, who we know sometimes the mentality can be a bit of a problem, just an early win, staying in touch, being in that conversation, that group of teams at the top of the leaderboards, which just breeds confidence. It breeds belief. And as we head towards Storm Point as our match 5, Falcons are going to be feeling good.
Yeah, Falcons will be delighted to be moving to Storm Point. One of our top 3 performers in this lobby on this map, averaging over 10 points per time we see them. Can they cross that threshold? Complexity maybe had a chance to do it in the previous game, but fell short, didn't get the points, and now they've allowed the rest of the lobby to catch up with them. Who is going to be the first team to cross it, and will it happen here in match 5?
Will it be someone else who joins this group that is starting to form at the top of those leaderboards? Team Falcons, 3rd place in the overalls at the moment. Still need some points though. Fair few of them, 23 to cross match point. Being with a chance at winning the ALGS Championships. Looking at where the zone is going to be going, we're going down to Barometer by the looks of things here, Dan.
Yeah, Barometer, which Go Next are currently dropping at as well. And I'm trying to see whether they actually have a ring console to work with, because if they do, they'll be in a good spot. I can only see a survey beacon at the moment, so might be one of those situations where a lot of people begin to arrive and they don't get necessarily the priority spot. But we look at the leaderboard at the moment, and you look at some of the names of people that have won so far. Mark, I mean, you've got Complexity up there, of course, but then you've got Guild with Phony, you've got Falcons with z-o-o-m and with How, and then a Shopify Rebellion, you've got z-o-o-m.eu, you've got all of the previous winners right up there.
Are you hinting at some potential rivalries that we might have been talking about for quite some time, Daniel Gaskin?
It does seem to be that way. And
interesting, right?
The consistency we've witnessed in Apex Legends starting to be on display here in Japan as well. Not to mention Alliance also in 6th place, and they also won a major LAN last year too.
Guild, we mentioned their win. We mentioned the Phony story. Well, it's not just him, of course. It's Legacy and Jesco, who are part of this lineup, who are contributing to the success of Phony just as much. Tried, of course, going to be taken a little bit closer to the zone. It's going to be a pretty clear shot for them by the looks of our map overhead in towards Barometer. Go Next, who have actually read the zone very well here. We mentioned how they don't have ring console over at Barometer. Well, they're playing the very backside of this circle, and if it pulls that way, it could be a brilliant read.
You did see in the kill feed there as well, Complexity just got a knock, and I believe an elimination onto Team Burger. Speaking of Team Burger, here's that confirmation. They've lost Pricey, but they are respawning him, but they're under pressure from EXO Clan. And it looks like they should be able to stabilize, but the real question is, do EXO allow them to get away with this?
Well, it looks like it's one of those situations where now that you're starting to move towards Barometer, we know teams are going to be stacked up, the risk of the fight slightly increases, but they want to keep the pressure on here, EXO Clan. I'll tell you what, if that frag grenade hits, it makes the job a little bit more simple as to whether or to push or hold.
Burger on the receiving end of a bit of damage, but they are going to get aggressive after some big chunks.
EXO got to be careful here. Swinny going to be last alive, and he's down on the low ground. Frag grenade does go up. You can hear the Newcastle Reds coming in, and now all 3 players are alive. Pricey goes back down thanks to that grenade and will be finished off. But EXO Clan probably thinking about restarting this fight. Maybe think it's not a good idea because now Noctum Esports are here and they want a 3rd.
Yeah, I think EXO Clan get out of there. Yeah,
bye-bye.
Into the cannon, but now Team Burger might just fall to Noctum here. A last-ditch attempt to try and get away, but not going to happen. Team Burger will be our first team out of the lobby, but Fnatic now fighting against E36 here. And despite the fact the bombardment's gone down, it's not stopping Fnatic in their press.
It's Blue Armors versus the White Armors of E36. So Fnatic certainly have an advantage. This is an isolated fight as well, happening down towards Devastating Coast. Elsewhere in the feed, you can see that Koiful has managed to pick up a knock of his own. Look at this position that's been taken by CNAP, by the way. Like trying to flush him out of this position, and will do indeed. E36, goodbye. Fnatic KP on board.
Bittersweet for the crowd. Yes, Fnatic get the kills. Fnatic climb the leaderboard, but at the hands, and sadly, E36 are the ones who fall. Now, Shopify Rebellion and Team Falcons, both in the same kind of area, both up there in contention for getting to match point first in our top 4 right now. Team Falcons definitely capable of going back-to-back, especially here on Storm Point.
It looks like Shopify are going to have their rotation slowed by the progress of Falcons. Also, VKG kind of split at the moment. One of their players is all the way over in zone at Zoo Station trying to get the respawn. Al's just got the knock onto the solo. Obviously, Falcons don't know that this player is on his own and the rest of his team are in Zoo Station. But this is going to be a free KP, so you take that if you're Falcons off the back of a win. Easy point on the board. Things are looking rosy in the Falcons camp.
Yeah, I think they'll be feeling so confident in this game and happy to push fights when they are able to get that damage in, especially in a circle like this where they perhaps don't have that priority to zone that a lot of others do on the southern side. As Fnatic continue their journey. Exoclan, by the way, have got back up, and they will be a full 3 and will have the chance to go again in this lobby as well. Where do Fnatic try and go? They're going to go for a big old wrap, it would seem. Maybe hit the survey beacon at Devastated Coast before going through Pylon.
I just want to say, it's interesting, Storm Point, historically you've highlighted how good Falcons have been, right? They've been a very strong Storm Point team, but they've always played from a POI that has a Trident. Now, Command Center, if I'm not mistaken, is where they're dropping here on Storm Point. Don't have a Trident, so it's a very different approach that they're going to have to take here. And of course, there's a lot of experience in how to play from all sorts of POIs, but it does change things, doesn't it?
Really does. I think that we've seen how strong those Tridents can be, but it's not a guarantee to success. And sometimes you just have to go back to the old tried and tested way of playing Apex Legends. Now Alliance, they're in 6th place. Haven't really had that pop-off game as of yet. They are walking up on Liquid Alienware here.
Well, Liquid Alienware, luckily for them at least, were more than aware of the position. You heard some of the bullets flying past the ears of various Alliance members as they walked up, so they were aware, and you can see VKG will be back in the game, waiting in the zone, getting that res right at the top hand side of the screen. The Zoo Station pays off for them. Falcons still doing a little bit of work here themselves in zone, but the zone is pulling. By the way, I want to talk about Go Next. No ring console, dropped a barometer. I've read this one perfectly.
Loads trying to see if they could have hijacked that Trident, but yeah, going to the southwest of barometer, Go Next. I mean, if you're going to be dropping a barometer, you better know where those zones could be pulling, and sometimes you have to read it off zone 1 as VP pushing up onto Aurora.
They certainly are. Cenote Cave is the battleground. 9 Impulse has been finished, and now it's just about chasing down the final remaining members. Now they have to be quick about this, VP, because not only is this fight happening in zone, but Liquid Alienware have heard about this. The audio cues are clear, and even though Kajak is being a little bit of a nuisance here for Lou, the longer this takes, the more chance that Liquid Alienware. Oh, Lou! Zone! Lou's gonna go down!
A thorn in their side to Virtus Pro right now. I think they are going to be fine. Liquid Alienware have just gone on by, minded their business, but Aurora have been able to at least get one away. Oirain in the Trident, on a journey, and off to try and find a crafter.
There's a finish coming in from Zach Mazer just to pick up a little point. Every point counts, of course, as we turn our attention back to the focus of where this game and this POI is likely to be ending. Barometer, right on the top of things, you've got Noctem Esports, and Sykes is in the feed as well for LG, but this position is really good. Just for laying down cover fire, we know how strong it can be. They also have hit a ring console on their way to this position. We watch Gaming Gladiators on the other side of this, who are being shot down upon, fall at the hands of Complexity.
TSM waiting
TSM,
to...
excuse me.
Yeah, TSM... Funny thing is, I heard you say TSM in my head because I was reading TSM.
Same.
They're waiting for their big game as well. Will it come? Is the real question. Is Fnatic arriving up close to Furia? Just transitioning through Jurassic at the moment, and Jurassic is often a place where teams like to set up if they haven't got priority to zone, because you do catch a few strays on their late rotation. But it doesn't look like Fnatic are going to fall into the trap of Furia. Both of them going to try and escape at the same time.
Just an exchange of fire between the two teams at the moment. Pylon does have a survey beacon here that Fnatic can play for. Furia is still going to force them away. This is the other side of that fight as we jump on the POV of Vaxlon.
It's funny, isn't it, how the two Valkyrie teams naturally start to engage because they're all trying to play a similar route, trying to hit those survey beacons.
Fnatic will be good for now. Furia have gone back into Jurassic, and they'll be heading probably a little bit closer to zone. They do have a survey beacon themselves. There's also a little bit of Evo to pick up here. Meltzera is going to grab that one. He's only about 80 points off of getting to purple himself, so Fnatic will hit that pretty soon. We'll be all dressed in purple. As on our map overhead, Shopify Rebellion are having to make a pretty tough rotation in from the southern side of zone.
Yeah, not going to be fun for them. Still late arrivals as well from those who had to go and respawn their teammates. VK Gaming and Aurora still in the zone. Fnatic down at Pylon, of course we saw that. And then Falcons, the other squad that is not within this zone right now. Well, Shopify Rebellion going to try brute force with the Trident here and build a base just down below Complexity, who are 8 points off of that match point threshold. 9 Impulse just gone down to the ring, by the way, so that's the journey that Aurora are having at the moment.
Mythic Bin's going to be spawning between Noctum and LG as well. I wonder if that's on the high ground or the low ground. That'll make a big difference. Falcons 38 points at the moment. Overall, of course, 50 is the magic number that everybody is trying to hit before they activate match point. And looking at that zone, we are pulling out into the depths of Barometer. And I hope you bought some wellies.
Yeah, these ones are always difficult, and it puts a lot of pressure on your Newcastle, on your Rampart, to be setting up accordingly as you move into these zones. We have seen some great usage. I mean, even in that previous game when Hal dropped the castle wall to force players off, we're starting to see people use these abilities in different ways to try and manipulate the fight in their favor. But Aurora, looks like they're okay, by the way, with their rotation. Despite one going down to the ring, they're back up and they are within this zone now. And VKG looks like they'll be next. They have a good amount of meds and they're going to be fine.
You got to get healthy. You also have the Valcott available, so they can cross quite a lot of ground very, very quickly to get close to that zone. So the zone closing behind them in 20 seconds isn't going to be too much of a concern to them.
Yeah, and they can hit this survey beacon as well.
It could be a concern, though. They were holding down the precipice of that hillside right next to them. Aurora back up to a full team. But arriving this late is going to be tough. Especially when you've got any kind of scope on your scout.
And they've got Alliance ahead of them as well. They could try and skirt around the northern side with this Trident. They didn't have much visual on actually what they were going to be arriving into. Same could be said maybe for Fnatic here, but the passive of Valkyrie might help them.
Look at the shots, look at the trails. Fnatic taking so much damage! So much damage! And I'm pretty sure they lost Yuka on the way down, but can they get him back? It's the Newcastle as well, but the bubble is there, and Yuka will be able to crawl to the safety, but our Complexity about to let them res here. Looks like Monsoon is having a little look at this.
Definitely having a look, but they might be reluctant to jump on it because they have a solid spot themselves in a team that's so close. Look, Monsoon steps out for 1 second, and he goes down. Again, I think they're going to get him back on his feet comfortably in the end, but that shows the risk of poking out. As Kimchi comes to the rescue, and they will be able to survive.
Well, here is Aurora. This is the play that they've decided to make. And they're on the southern side of zone all of a sudden.
Plan B.
Trident's going to be vital for their success! There's so many bodies, so many teams, so many guns. All of them looking straight at Aurora.
All it takes is one moment, a miscommunication there as well. They do have a Moby, though. And Shopify Rebellion are joining Complexity in this building, by the way. Are either of them confident enough to take the fight? I think Complexity are going to be able to lock down this part. As Fnatic pushing up onto VKG.
Fnatic trying to clear out the sewers. They found a couple of rats. And the Exterminators are moving in. It's Yuka who picks up 2 with that Eva Ray.
VKG had no chance, really, as soon as Fnatic were able to swoop in together with that push. Once the initial damage was done, VK just started to try and scatter, like the vermin you speak of. And that is kind of the meta that we see. Once one player goes down and you think you're down in the fight, it's just a matter of survival, hoping that you can get away, because you often can get a respawn in some of the earlier stages, a little bit more difficult in the latter.
Well, the zone is shifting ever so slightly. You can see that on your screen. I thought it was pulling out into the water, but it's actually pulled back towards the building, which is heavily inhabited right now. You've got Shopify Rebellion, Noctum, Aurora just outside, who we've seen their position. They did manage to get the res, and now that's a great position. Go Next, who moved obviously very early from this POI. They're fighting TSM right now on the back of things, and TSM will be eliminated. So TSM kind of struggling a little bit early on here.
Worth noting as well, complexity within that building that is going to be in the zone. Our closest team to match point. It's Liquid Alienware, a team that can definitely get involved with some of these fights with the position they found themselves in. They're south of the building, which is okay for now. They will have to move up. Furia also arriving from the skies.
It's a mirror match.
Who's feeling brave?
Furia land dead center zone. This is something they've done a lot so far. This has been a big contributor to their success to getting to match point finals. Play it late, hit beacons, hit ring consoles. And then with the Valkyrie ability up in the skies, see where everybody is, know where everybody is, and then find a spot late on to play that you know is free. Alliance playing this one a little bit differently though. They're having to work their way through team after team, an inch closer to this zone. They are on the very northern side of this zone.
Still 16 teams left, 1 minute. Zone 5 is going to be closing. Liquid Alienware, they're climbing. It's knocked them up there. Liquid Alienware have done a little bit of damage, but they have to be careful.
Remix Powers going to retreat. Liquid Alienware up on height, and here comes the third party, and it's Complexity. You want to have another look at this? Complexity trying to fight who they like down in this low ground, but there's another team, Shopify Rebellion, and this is where comms have to be clear. If you send or if you're backing up, and it looks like Complexity, the comms are good enough to survive here.
That's smart from Complexity. They try and find some KP, but they back off as now Fnatic decide they want to join in on LG's fun.
Good shots coming in from Yuka again. Takes the time to reload with this Eve Ray. A lot of damage being done, but no knocks coming in as yet. And Yuka is trying to deal with LG. Noctum esports eliminated in the meantime, as Fnatic will be able to reset here. But the stun on the wall, and now Yuka's left on his own. Sweet is a problem. The armor swap, and LG will go down, but Fnatic will immediately finish.
Fnatic do get some extra points with the kills though. LG eliminated in 15th. Complexity still holding this position. Team Liquid above them, and then you've got Go Next and Shopify below them. Again, 13 squads within this next zone. There is too many teams and not enough playable space. Something has to give. Once these bubbles start to dissipate, you have to make a decision. Do we fight or do we run here?
Fight or flee. VP at the moment just making sure they don't get wrapped. They will be safe, just walking up as far as the zone, but there is going to be teams above them, surrounding them, and certainly in front of them as well. That's Team Falcons! Oh my, Envy just got shredded on their way forward.
There's a real opportunity for Complexity and Falcons and Shopify Rebellion all to hit match point here in this matchup. Falcons need to win this one though. Grenades going into the bubble and a chance maybe to do some damage, but they also know they have to be careful of their surroundings.
Guild eliminated. Waltzy brings out Sheila and stares into the souls of First Pro. 11 squads now remaining. Alliance, by the way, now own the complete north side of this map, but not a lot of cover to play with. Shopify Rebellion. They're going to be pulling out Sheila as well, as Exo Clan will be eliminated, and we have the lobby half. 10 squads now remain. Complexity, 5 points off of match point.
Yeah, like I said, all three of these teams, in theory, could be crossing it. All gathering points, slowly chipping away. If they were to all finish top 3, we might be looking at a very interesting match 6. Now, Falcons there amidst 3 different squads around them, but they have been able to find a corner to play with here. But the team on height are just able to get an angle. It is not comfortable.
The worry here for Falcons is VP. VP have to send it forward at some point. Complexity, the nerves, they know how close it is. 5 points, Falcons probably thinking the same. The bubble goes down, but so does Waltzy. Howl's going to stick the res here. He's got the blue knockdown, which is going to certainly help. But will they be able to get healthy enough? And VP might have been taken care of, because VKG forced the fight on onto them.
That is huge for Falcons as well. Just a little bit of distraction, but now here
No
comes
bubble,
Alliance.
no bubble, no
Alliance
wall.
arrive. You need to get a bubble soon, but of course you've got to wait.
No bubble, no wall. It's going to have to be brute force to hold here for Falcons. Alliance trying to make the most of this northern side. VP with just one remaining. Zach Mazer hiding, trying to survive. Falcons still alive as well as go next to esports. Catwall outer zone.
Teams starting to fall, Aurora go down. Complexity still closing in on match point, but they have to move outside of this building. They have moved out, they need kills, and they might just find some. There's an extra one. 3 more points required for Complexity.
3 to go for Complexity to hit match point, to put themselves within
Enemy.
1 game of being in the finals. The bubble goes down from Monsoon. Kimchi, it's all up to you. They only need a few points. Complexity won't make it. Complexity will not make it, but Falcon's still alive.
Attention turns to Team Falcons. They could be the first to cross. All red, great position. Catwall's helping them out, and they're doing damage.
Hal though, he's got to be careful. Hal's got to be careful. He's going to have to get the wall down. Fury are eliminated, which means more placement points here for Team Falcons. Wolsey, he's gone down though, and even though they can see it, even though they can taste it,